Actually, when I grew up, I have no inclination that I was a Nyonya. I thought like, okay, I have my relatives, all that wear sarong, and that's my world. So in my world, everybody wears sarong, everybody speaks like us, everybody eats like us. Then I thought, hey, so that means although I seem like Chinese, these Chinese people are more Chinese than me because they are speaking the real Chinese. So it occurred to me, but again, because Penang is so cosmopolitan, it didn't matter. I'm Lilian Thong, and I am a sixth-generation Nyonya. I am today the Museum Director of Penang Peranakan Mansion, a street Chinese cultural exhibits and lifestyle museum. I am very fascinated and maybe passionate about Baba Nyonya. It helps so much because I don't have to read up. I don't have to ask questions. It was at my fingertip. But I find that the culture was in itself beautiful and genteel. I appreciate like good manners, refinement, being cultured, being educated. Baba Nyonyas came about because the Chinese men from China, usually the Fujian province, because they are, Fujian is kin hai ema. So they will take the boat and they're seafaring and they will come to Champa, which is like Vietnam, Cambodia area, Champa, Funan, and the coastal areas they landed. And then they made their way inland, even they came to Malacca. So then when the British took over parts of Malaya like Penang, Malacca, Singapore, they opened up free ports and they said, whoever can clear the land, it is yours. Then, of course, our Chinese ancestors, they were very hardworking and visionary. So they said, okay, we will move from Champa, Funan, or wherever we are, to come to Malaya, and we will open up the jungles and all that. And the land is yours if you can cultivate it. So they did that. There was a time in history that they owned vast tracts of land because of their own ambition and hard work. So my earliest ancestor came from China. And he was Dutch chef with, he was a chef with the Dutch army. Second one was photographer. And one of our most outstanding one is Wong Pak Fook, who happens to be the earliest postmaster in Perak. And he went to the first English school ever in Taiping together with Cheng King Kui's son, Chung Taiping. And then my grandfather works for the Shell Company, and my father works for the Municipal Council, and then that's me. My specialty then is to do Peranakan Baba Nyonya tours. Peranakan, not only Baba Nyonya, Peranakan covers the Jawi, the Eurasian and all. So mine is more Peranakan. For my tour guide license, in Malaysia, we have got either nature guide or city guide. So I'm a city guide. But of course, as a city guide, you can take tours. Our license allows us to take tours the whole of Malaysia, except Sabah, Sarawak. We are tested in the whole Malaysia, no, whole of Malaysia. Geography, history, everything you must know, culture. So I had to go through a surgery at one point, and I thought it was life-threatening. I thought it's going to be cancer, and I thought I'm going to die. And if I die, my poor girl, she's never going to know who she is. Oh my goodness, she's going to grow up just like a Chinese and never knowing she's a Nyonya. So then I said, if I live through this surgery, I will make sure I write books. and so that she can read it, my son can read it. So I came up with eventually 2 books. My first book, of course, is on the favorite topics, not just for me, but for most ladies. Jewelry. So, I particularly like jewelry because my daughter's name, I named my daughter Jewel. So this book was dedicated to her, my Chingkam.
Oh, so you don't usually, like, very small, you also usually wear
Baju panjang. Yeah, my grandmother was sew for us, and our kasomane is very small. I still have them, orange color one, like this. So then she will have baju panjang, and I don't know how she make the sarong so small. And we will have to sit before the mirror, and she will comb our hair, and she uses like coconut oil to make it very slick and shiny, and you cannot move your head because if she is making the ponytail, if you look wide here or you wide there or you wide here, then she put it wrongly. The whole sango will either go down or to the right or to the left, then get scolding or pinch. So must sit very still, and so she will comb, and she really pull your hair, you know, very hard because it has to be very neat. Then they'll put gel to make your hair very neat. Then she'll make the sango. So we had to keep long hair when we were younger. But if our hair is not long enough, she will have the extra, like it's not wig, extension. And then she would make the sango for us, like the old ladies. So it's like that. So she dresses up like that with the hairstyle. And here she would put spider orchids. So a lot of Malacca Nonyas don't do that. And I was always wondering, I mean, of course, at times she put spider orchids, that's fine with me. But later, when I look at other photographs, then it's like, hey, how come certain photographs have this? Not much. But Malacca one, totally, because that sango drop. So totally don't have this spider orchids and all that. Then I later found out that that was the Thai influence. Yeah, because one of our earliest grandmother is one from Medan and one from probably Thailand. So that was how she put that style. And I knew that was confirmed to me, and I knew that's correct was when I was one day on a flight together with the Consul General of Thailand, and we were going for the Baba Nyonya convention in Phuket. So then I just told this Consul General, I said, you know, I have a bit of Thai blood because one of my grandmother is Thai. And then he says, oh, that's why, Miss Lilian, I always wonder when you wear your Nyonya dress, I always wonder why you make your hairstyle like Thai lady. So then it's like, really? Wow. So I know then that's confirmed that she was following the Thai style. So when the men are here, whether for trading by sea or moving inland to claim land, they married the local women. They may have wives in China, but they married the local women, Thai, Burmese, Indonesians like Javanese, Minangkabaus, and the Bataks. And some of them are slave girls. So they marry this slave girl, if she's a slave, if not, maybe a merchant's daughter. And then they install them in the family. They grew a family. And when he has to go back to China to get goods or whatever for his trade, then he can trust his wife to look after his interests. And then, of course, then they have children and they intermarry among their friends. So that's how the community grew. And while they are Chinese men with Chinese religion, Confucianism, Taoism, ancestral worship, Buddhism, and like mother, praying to all the anthills and rocks and stones and coconut trees, banana trees. The ladies, because they're local ladies, right? They will still wear sarong kebaya because they're not Chinese, the ones here, the indigenous ladies. And they will cook the food like they know how. But the Chinese husband will say, hey, I want to eat fried whatever, like vegetables and fish, the Chinese style. So they will mix it. And so that's how you get the unique Nyonya food, because it is done Chinese style, but with lots of ingredients here, the herbs, the spices, the coconut milk, the santan, and so we have curries too. So we are used to eating curry almost every day. I feel also that knowing who you are determines how you behave. Because I do acting in movies, so I remember that when I was in Anna and the King, I was just a Siamese girl in the market, and I behaved like a Siamese girl in the market. I sit by the drains, the longkang. If they have tea time, I will grab my bun and then just eat it. If I'm too tired in between takes and they haven't called me, I will sit by the drain and fall asleep. But when I was filming Road to Dawn and Little Nyonya, then it changes the whole perspective, because there was all this community of Baba Nyonyas that they call, because we have all the costumes and clothes, to be actors. And if you're tired and we were trying to lean against a tree, that time I was younger, then all the older Nyonyas will say, hey, tak tentu, which means that's not proper, don't do that. You know, you should stand up straight and tall. And then we're so tired because there were no chairs for us from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. And we want to like just bend down, and she said, hey, don't you dare do that. So we got to still stand up. And when people are going, you know, like maybe 300 people, lunchtime, so everybody's rushing for the food, then the old ladies will say, no, if you have to go hungry, you will go hungry, but you will not rush like them. So then I realized, you know, when I'm acting another part, I behave that part. But when I am acting as a Nyonya, then I remember these are imposed on me by the community. So then I thought, wow, that's really good that you always keep your posture, you keep your dignity, you keep your self-respect, you behave very well in spite of hardship, the hot sun and not being able to sit and all that, you still maintain your dignity. So I think that is very applaudable. Aha. Yeah. See the kasomane? So small. So grandma made us all this small. I remember it's orange color, I think, with either a little girl or a little hen. And then she dresses up in the croissant. Did you see she put all the spider orchids up on my little thing? And then like old auntie like that wearing the necklace, the subang. And I remember it was a very beautiful sarong also. So that's me. Oh, the old photos, they don't smile because those days, you don't take photo like now, a lot of selfie, Instagram, and then post it up. No, you can't even don't ever try to look cute. So these photos, those days, when the people take photo, remember it's an old photo, something like the mummy, they got to hide behind the cloth, and then they have a light bulb, then they pop, and your photo is taken. Then they think, I think this thing, the camera, and the pop, maybe that moment it captures our soul. That means your life, because you are you now on a piece of paper. Oh my goodness, I appear on a piece of paper stuck there already. So that means that moment, they capture your soul and your spirit and your whole being, and now they paste it here. Don't want to take pictures because of that. They say, so take photograph, maybe wedding or 60th birthday. Then they take one nice picture, frame it up very beautifully, and they put it away. So when they die, during the wake, they will put it out in front of the coffin. So when the body is lying there in the coffin, you don't want that auntie to be smiling at you.
One more, 1, 2, 3. Again, one more, 1, 2, 3. Nice. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah. All models with old models.
Yeah.
Oh, all is gold.
Yeah.
So good to see you again.
How you go?
Sarah, am I so fat?
Yeah.
Oh, happy she grew. Okay, going up already.
Yes, we can see.
Oh, okay.
Now, so these men, like I said before, the fact that they can leave China to come here, they already have the spirit within them. And so they married these ladies and they have businesses. And very cleverly, they send their children to English schools, which is why I cannot speak Bei Hao Kong Mandarin and Bei Hao Tak Chinese. So because we were sent to English school, and because of the earlier generation was sent to English schools, then the parents, being wealthy, sent them to England. And so they become very Anglophile, Ang Mo Kwan, and adopt English habits. And when they came back, they became the bankers, the lawyers, the shipping, people in banking, people in politics, people who are doing the rubber estates, because they can speak English. So that the Ang Mo will tell them, can communicate with them. And then the local Malays and Indians and other races, who cannot speak English, will depend on them to communicate to the British. In fact, the most beautiful Baba Nyonya homes were in Penang. Palatial manors and colonial bungalows, especially along Northern Road. And today it's called Jalan Sultan Ahmad Shah. Big mansions that face the sea. And so they were very Ang Mo Kwan, so they have parties and all that. And they drive automobiles, and they play golf, and they intermarried. So when you are wealthy, to show that they have worked hard for it, and also to boast lah, I bina, is to then have a nice house and fill your beautiful house with beautiful things. If the British are colonial masters and you can fill your house with English and European glass, epons, chandeliers, then you are on par with them. Sculptures, French furniture, then Ang Mo U Wa Lang Bun U. My house also have Wai Chu Bun U. So you are a bit up class already. Then the other way is to dress your wife. Your wife is your advertisement. So as a man, you only have your suit and your sanchong sam, so limited to show off your wealth, right? So of course, besides cars, then their wives will be dressed in jewelry. And of course, the more the jewelry the wife has, then everybody knows that the husband is first very generous. He shares his wealth with her. And second, all his wealth is shown on the wife. So people know she's very rich. And sometimes weddings, they will tiok other people's jewelry. Then you can see the kerosang or the bintang and the jewelry. Then they say, hey, this one, doesn't belong to the family. Maybe the Yap Cho Ie family jewelry. But what does it mean? It means that you are so, you're of good status that you make friends with Yap Cho Ie. And you can borrow their family jewels for your daughter's wedding. So the jewelry that you borrow is also telling people of your connections, your social connections. So it was very nice. People shared their jewelry and they got married and they dressed brilliantly, and almost every other events and parties too. Then, because I have thought about my ancestors coming to Malaya, why or what spurred them to leave China? Of course, there were trouble then. But can you imagine getting all your worldly goods and saying goodbye to your mother and father, not knowing whether you will come back? You might perish on the journey. And your Huynh, your province, your village, you're leaving everything behind, not knowing whether you will come back to China again. Of all countries, they chose Malaya. The speech is not your speech. You have a language problem. And yet, they were so adventurous. They had the spirit in them to come here. And that's why I tell my children, if our grandparents and great ancestors are so courageous to come here, then you are part of that lineage, that you have the courage, you had that adventure, you have that spirit to overcome difficulties.
Hello.
Today, a lot of Baba Nyonya descendants, they've forgotten that they are Baba Nyonyas. They're straight Chinese. So they think of themselves as Chinese. And that is probably because Penang is mainly a Chinese area, Chinese population. And also, if one parent is a Nyonya and one is a Chinese, and the Chinese parent is stronger in raising the children and influencing the children and the family, then the shift will be towards Chinese. They will forget it because it is so seamless. The line is so little different. They may eat Nyonya food but go to Chinese schools. So then the whole mind is changed. Your language and your education actually determines your worldview, how you see themselves. So they begin to see themselves as Chinese. This has happened a lot, even among my Nyonya dancers. And one of the things I'm very, very pleased to be able to do is, first, because I am in the committee for the Penang Tourist Guides Association, I also give lectures to the tourist guides. And can you imagine one time, like say 123 tourist guides? You're imparting the knowledge to them. And when they go out and take tours every day, these people are going to impart one whole bus is 33 people. One person influences 33 people per day. How much influence is that? That's very good. Secondly is through the promotion of whether on my own or with the help of the government or the community or tourism, people are beginning to be excited about wearing the kabaya, Nyonya culture, and of course this museum helps a lot. So today the Ministry of Tourism actually is asking me to hold workshops to bring back the culture, the dance, the food, everything, to revive this Baba Nyonya culture.
urgent aja walang koi linkกับแม่แล้วtapi actually si orang tujuh tu si macam apa koi sih jangan sana.
In your opinion, do you prefer the modern Nyonyas or the traditional?
I think it is both, because modern Nyonyas need to know always who you are before you can evolve and transform yourself to be modern. For example, when I did flower arrangement, you have to learn the rules. Once you know the rules, the colors and all that, then you can break the rules. And that's what my master, Yin said. First, you learn the rules, you follow strictly by the rules for 2 years of your life. Then, please break all the rules. And that's how you begin to break out and be very creative. So I think for Nonias too, or people trying to do Nonia styling and fashion, you know where you came from, how they dress. And today, if you want to be free, why not? But there are still a lot of people who tegur. Tegur means like they criticize. Oh, you're wearing wrong. Why should it be wrong? Why must we keep to 1920? Then we never progress. Are we keeping our sarong kebaya pattern to 1960, 1970? Then, now it's 2020, we are going to be left behind. We are stuck and frozen in that era. So, I know of a Singapore fashion designer, Raymond Wong. Once he did a kebaya. That means the back he wear as a front. Then this side, he make it a low V at the back. And the tail, the long potong tail, the teng, down there, which is actually quite nice. And then we were at this convention and everybody was like throwing stones at him. Hey, how can you do this wrong? But I didn't quite like that, wearing the kebaya, the reverse. But I also can see if he is a young man and he wants to explore, why are we holding him back? Then again, now Babas. So if they say then that's wrong, then today's Babas, we wear batik. Those days, the Baba Nyonyas from long ago, they don't wear batik. They don't wear batik shirt. And now their batik or even their shirt, they have sulaman. They have this siuhua. So those days, the men never wear siuhua. It's jamo, like too feminine. But today, the Baba, they make dragon and nice siuhua. And why not? It is the Babas who are creating and evolving and being inspired and inspiring new fashion. So I think that yes, we should move on. But before we move on, we need to know the original. Then we can move on.